Rob Manfred clearly seems to be determined to kill the sport of baseball. Because because everyone thought when Bud Selig was going to be gone, Rob Manfred would be better. Rob Manfred has been so much worse because he's just been so determined to establish his own legacy as commissioner. No. Maybe stop ignoring fans under the age of 50 and let people share clips on social media, because the NBA does it, the NFL kind of does it, the NHL does it. You are so behind the times. Stop. Stop trying to come up with these stupid gimmicks and do stuff that you know works. Like, oh, a 3-batter minimum. Why? You can't have position players pitching until like after the 9th inning, or if a team is up 6 runs. Why? Like, these rules are just so dumb. They're not going to accomplish what you want to accomplish. They're just going to drive people away. It's going to make the game more confusing. And baseball's a pretty simple game. You hit the ball where the other guys aren't and you run. And you try to beat the ball to where you want to go. And if you get all the way back around, you score. If you hit the ball out, you just get to go all the way around and score. And everyone else on base does too. It's a pretty simple game. Don't make it more complicated. I mentioned it already. Rob Manfred is making himself look worse than Roger Goodell. If you make Roger Goodell look good, the guy whose basically only job it is to fall on the sword for the owners. It's like, take all the heat off the dumb decisions the owners make, and he's just there to, like, that's his job. The owners throw a whole bunch of money at Roger Goodell, and then when they do something stupid, he takes the blame. 1, he has a very punchable face for it. And 2, he's okay with doing it if they pay him enough. Rob Manfred is not doing that. He is just actively coming up with ridiculous ideas to help baseball, and it ends up making people mad because it's just so stupid. Let people share clips on social media, market yourself better to current generation fans, and stop with all the stupid gimmicks. Don't expand the playoffs. Don't try to create March Madness in baseball, because you're not college basketball. You're just not. Like, let college basketball have the March Madness format. Don't make a 14-team playoff where like an 83-win team could slip in as the 7th seed. No. We've only had the second wild card. The second wild card was added 8 years ago. The second wild card has been around for less than a decade. Let that marinate for a while. Because adding the second wild card wasn't a terrible idea. It made wild card races down the stretch a little bit more interesting because you'd have more teams fighting for the second spot. If you add another, it's not going to make it more interesting because now almost half the league gets in. If that were the case. If 14 out of 30 teams get in, that's like 48% of the league. That math may be a little shaky, but I know it's less than 50. If half the league gets in, what's even the point? That's what messed up the NBA and the NHL. Because in the NBA, over half the league gets in. In the NHL, they're going to expand to 32 soon, so 16 will make the playoffs. Half the league gets in. Over half the NBA make the playoffs. Don't make it just under half of baseball making the playoffs too. Just don't. It's not going to work. It's going to make the early rounds less interesting. It's going to make the playoff race in late August into September less interesting. It's going to have the opposite effect. It's absolutely going to have the opposite effect of what you want. And the slashing of minor league teams, Rob Manfred is going to kill baseball if he keeps this up. And if the owners were smart, they'd boot him soon. Because he has royally screwed up this whole sign stealing thing. His rule changes are actively ruining the game. And he's just generally a terrible commissioner. If you can unseat Roger Goodell as the worst, you are really bad at your job. Rob Manfred needs to go. Or he's going to take baseball down for good. Baseball's already on the rocks. Really. If you really think about it, baseball's already on the rocks. Attendance is down. TV ratings are down. Everything is down. If you don't get rid of Rob Manfred, he's going to kill it for good. Like, he needs to go. And he needs to go now. Like, before the end of the season. Before this season even starts. If you were intelligent, you would get rid of Rob Manfred. And vote in someone who isn't going to completely destroy the game. And what do I know? I'm just one guy, but baseball Twitter seems to think that I'm right. Seems to agree with me that Manfred needs to go. Baseball was my first love. Baseball was my first sport. And if this keeps up, I don't know what's going to happen to it. Screw this guy.